All right, so I'm going to go over a few things with you today. First, I'm going to explain a little bit about who I am so you know who the guy is that's giving you candy. It's awesome. I'm going to cover some common marketing questions, top 16 things you should be doing for your office in order, as well as some common marketing mistakes. I call them mistakes on purpose, not mistakes. I'm going to also go over some top marketing FAQ questions, a little bit about Dr. Marketing, and then I'll cover some case studies questions at the end, okay? So, before I actually get into this, I like to start my seminars with a little bit of a story. So do you want to hear about my TNT shoes getting confiscated at the airport, or do you want to hear me getting kicked out of Disney for life? The Disney? Does anybody know that there's a rule at Disney that you're not allowed to run? Show of hands. You know you're not supposed to run at Disney. One person? Oh, nobody knows that, right? You get kicked out of Disney if you run. My 7-year-old and I were getting off of the Tron ride, and we ran, like sprinted. And apparently there were people following us, and I had no idea. So when we finally stopped, we were surrounded by like 15 people. And they were like, yeah, we called the police, you're out. I'm like, just me or my son too? He's like, no, just you. And so this happened 6 months ago. So I have this framed report from the Orange County Sheriff's Department, and it's like trespass for life, and it's like above my desk. Who gets kicked out of Disney, right? For running. Craziness. But they said that I can apply after a year and get the ban lifted, so whatever. Standard procedure, right? For life. Isn't that crazy? I have no idea. I'll figure that out in 6 months. Because this happened in January. Yeah, Happy New Year's. You're banned from Disney, right? Good Lord. I'll tell you about my TNT shoes as well. About a month ago, I was doing a seminar in British Columbia for dental offices out there. And you know when you go to the airport and you push a button, it says like they have to scan you or not scan you with the palm swipes or whatever. And they're like, you have traces of TNT. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And so they're like, you have to go to second screening. So you go to second screening. They test everything. They test my bag. They test my outfit. They test my shoes. And they're like, your shoes have so much TNT, we're not allowed to bring them on the plane. So I had to take my shoes off and I had to give them to them. And funny story, you're allowed on a plane without shoes on. Cause like they checked my bag with my shoes on it. So like whatever. I've had those shoes for 3 years. I'm not working I work in an office. Like what the hell? I think it was just a glitchy system. Who knows? Anyway, so let's get started with the seminar. You guys got lucky. I told you 2 stories today. Okay, so a little bit about me. I've been in the dental space since 2008, running Dr. Marketing since 2014. I've worked in telecom, big companies in Canada. So like your equivalent to like, your AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. It was TELUS, Bell, and Rogers, if you guys know those companies. So did lots of different things for them, large scale advertising, working with DSOs and stuff like that. And so like I've been in the dental space for quite some time. Unfortunately, working for giant telecom companies, they don't really pay you a lot of money. And so I have this plaque from one of the companies that I worked for, $21 million I made for them. Do you know how much they paid me? Like $100,000. Does that seem fair? No. So I left and I started Dr. Marketing, and then I never looked back. But I've got lots of experience in the dental space. Anybody have any questions on my background at all? Perfect. Just somebody up here working for telecom, advertising, getting kicked out of Disney, right? Okay, some common marketing questions. There are 5 questions that come up more than anything when we start going down this path for marketing. Very first question everyone wants to know, how much money do I spend? Clearly, right? Next question they typically ask is, what platforms should I use to market? Should I advertise on Google? Should I advertise on Facebook? Should I advertise with print? Should I advertise on dating websites? Not getting any matches? Swipe right for a new smile. Surprisingly, it works. If you're a cosmetic, like central focus doctor, like that really does work. Mind you, you're going to be getting a certain demographic, like men between the ages of like 25 and 55 that typically have money that are doing it for a reason, right? Next question they usually ask, who do I promote my ads to? Geographically as well as demographically. Do I target certain areas, certain age ranges, certain genders? How am I going to be targeting these people? Next question they usually ask, how do I rank higher on Google? Everyone obviously wants to know that. And then my personal favorite, what happens if I do marketing and it doesn't work? So I am going to answer all these questions throughout the presentation, but does anybody have any other questions that we're kind of hoping to get answers on? This is an interactive presentation, so feel free to ask, okay?
I'm just wondering, and I know that you can't really, like, you get a negative Google review, you can't really remove it, correct?
You can't, but I will talk about negative reviews as well. She asked, you can't really remove a negative review? I mean, like, you can't just go in and hit the delete button. You can't do that. But there is a way that you can report them. And so you report them under a lot of different like options, like harassment, spam, HIPAA compliance. And there's a lot of different, if they do anything in that specific, like you report the review, there's like a bunch of different options you can select from. Google takes some of them very seriously and will remove it immediately. Other times they'll put the person who left the review into like a review status. And so it's up to them to verify their identity with Google. If they don't, the review gets removed. If they do, the review sticks. But there are lots of ways that you can bury the review. Positive reviews, and I will talk about more throughout the presentation. Okay, top 16 things you need to be doing for your office in order. The very first thing, domains. Now, there are two types of domains. You've got business name domains, and then you've got keyword-based domains. Business name domains are exactly what they sound like. BrandonDentistry.com. How people who know you are able to find you. And then you've got keyword-based domains. Keyword-based domains are typically tied to a service, location, or industry. Okay, so if somebody else owns BrandonDentistry.com, maybe we would register something like DentistinOrlando.com, or something you're passionate about, like DentalImplantsinOrlando.com, right? Or like ChildDentistinOrlando.com, right? It doesn't have to be in Orlando. It could be like Child Dentist Near You, or like dentist, a dentist around Disney, or you could pretty much do whatever domain name you want. Just understand that when you do that, though, there are lots of competitors that do register very similar domains. So just do some research around the domain to see if there's anything that's similar, just so you don't get your wires crossed. Okay? Now, anytime you register a domain, okay, you want to make sure, you're specifically your business name domain, you want to make sure that you are registering all the primary suffixes. So the suffix is the ending of a domain. So .com, .net, .biz, .info, .org. Those are the 5 primaries, okay? There are tens of thousands of different endings. You can get .dental, .me, .metal, .io, .au, right? Like the ending, like the list goes on. It's huge. But there's only 5 that you should register. Com, biz, info, net, and org. And there's 2 reasons why you want to do this. The first reason is because of the patience. 99.9% of people, when they're typing in a domain name, will use only one of those 5 primary suffixes. Com, biz, info, net, and org. Okay? So when they're typing in your domain, awesome. Thank you. Everybody can see that? That's good? Okay. So when they're typing in your domain name, at the end, if they don't really remember it, 99.9% of the time they'll type in one of those endings. The other reason why you want to do it is because of your competitors. So sometimes your competitor, let's say I own BrandonDentistry.com, but there's a competitor, another dental office that wants to register Brandon Dentistry, right? Because they own a Brandon Dentistry maybe in Brandon, Manitoba. Maybe they own Brandon Dentistry in another city or in another country, right? So they could potentially register Brandon Dentistry, but if you own the .com, they might register .net. So when somebody Googles Brandon Dentistry, you both are going to show up on Google. Doesn't matter where you are. So it can be really complicated when you're trying to have your maps show up and Google's like, well, there's 2 of you, so you're both showing up. Have fun. Okay? So to prevent that from happening, your competitors are pretty much only going to register 5 of those 5 primary suffixes, com, biz, info, net, and org. So if you take the ability away from them, they will find a different business name. They'll go with something else. So register all 5 of those specifically for your business name. Okay? Now, for keyword-based domains, you don't have to do that. If it's a keyword-based domain, Google doesn't care. Just .com, right? There's nothing there to protect, so you don't have to go online and register, biz, info, net, and org if you're going after like FamilyDentistInOrlando.com. Okay? Now, for keyword-based domains, you don't want to register multiple domains just for the sake of owning them because Google doesn't care. They don't do anything for optimization. So the only thing that Google cares about is that there is a domain and there is a website attached to it. Everything else that's forwarded does absolutely 0 for search engine optimization. So don't go online registering multiple domains because Google honestly doesn't care. Okay? Now, anytime you register a domain, your information becomes public knowledge, which means if I'm a spammer, I could find your domain, I can scrape all your contact information off of it, business and personal, and I can sell it to 1,000 people to spam the hell out of you until the end of time. So to prevent that from happening, what you do is you add a security blanket to the domain that redacts all personal information. Your business information might still be available, but no personal information will be there. Okay? And so the domain itself usually only costs anywhere between $15 and like $35 a year. Okay? The security for the domain could be anywhere from $5 to $20 a year. Okay? So if you get one domain like a keyword base, you're looking at like $40 to $60 a year with security. If you get like the business name, you register those 5, a couple $100 a year, right? To protect your identity, right? Paying a couple $100 rather than having like 2 or 3 brand and dentistry show up online, it's worth it. Okay? Does anybody have any questions on domains at all?
Yes. When you get a domain, do you own the domain or you're leasing the domain? The reason I ask is because I own several domains that seem even though I think I own them, over the year they have been increasing the price every year.
It's a good question. Yeah, you don't actually own it. So you own the rights to it. It's always a lease. The domains are owned by large corporations and they're basically just like leasing it to you. Yeah, has anybody ever heard of a domain registrar? So that's your GoDaddy, that's your 2Cows, that's your Namecheap, that's your HostGator. These companies will basically have all these domains that you could register, and then you register it, you pay them a leasing fee for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 99 years. So you don't actually own the domain. Okay? I mean, you own the leasing rights to it. Only you can have that. So basically it's like www.brandanddentistry.com or www.myfamilydentist.com or whatever it is. Like, I guess that's a kind of a loaded question. Can you specify a little bit?
So you have your business domain with your website, and then you want us to do more domains?
No, so let me clarify. The only time you're going to register multiple domains is if you're doing a business name domain. Okay? You can forward your .net, biz, info, and org to your .com. Okay? But you're only going to register just one domain when it comes to keyword base. Okay? All right, next, emails. How many of you know for a fact you have a custom email for your office? Custom meaning like info@brandanddentistry.com. 3, 4 people, 5 people, 6 people? Okay, well, that's not bad. So those emails, do you know if they're hosted through Microsoft or Google's G Suite program or something else? Like 110% it's Microsoft? Okay. Somebody else had their hand up. Do you know if it's Google? Microsoft? That's perfect. There are 2 primary providers for HIPAA compliance. Microsoft Office 365 and Google's G Suite program. Okay? So if you're going to get a custom email, get it through one of those 2 providers. Okay? Now, the reason why you don't want to go with one of these other ones like at gmail.com or at hotmail.com or at AOL or MSN or Techstars or these free email accounts, mainly because when you email someone, 70% of the time your email is going to go into the patient's spam box. So if you get an inquiry from your website, somebody's like, hey, I'm interested in becoming a patient, and your staff emails them back. You don't get a response because 70% of the time you're going straight back into their spam box. And it's not because of something you did. It's not because of something the patient did. It's just that's how free email accounts work. Someone sets up an email, spams 1,000 people. They set up an email, they spam 1,000 people. Set up an email, spam 1,000 people. So when someone emails you and you email them back from like a Gmail or a Hotmail or something like that, or MSN or whatever it might be, okay, the incoming mail server, like you email the patient, so their mail server picks it up and says, Gmail again, spam, Hotmail again, spam, 70% of the time. Now with custom emails, it's only 12% because the incoming mail server doesn't recognize the sender. So they're like, oh, you must be legitimate because custom emails are paid email accounts. Spammers don't pay for email accounts. So it's only 12%. I'll ask for questions after. Okay? Now, the reason why you want to set up an email like this is because it also looks much more professional. Like imagine you're emailing another office saying, hey, can I get your medical records from this other patient because we're wanting to transfer them over? And it's coming from dentaltemp101@gmail.com. What do you think the other office is going to do? Delete, right? Spam, right? So we want to make sure that we're setting up an email like info@coultersmilldental or whatever it might be, okay? Now, patients are smart because if you're emailing patients as well asking for like their medical information and it comes from this email, they're also not going to respond. But if it comes from this one, they're going to take your suffix, they're going to pop it into Google, and it can populate your website. But you can't do that from a Gmail account, okay? So you want to make sure you're setting up a custom email at all costs. Now, with custom emails, you can set up some extras for it, okay? These are medical grade emails, okay? So with Microsoft and Google's G Suite program, you can have data backup. So if you accidentally delete something, you can easily restore it. Malware protection helps fight against viruses. So if you get an email with a virus in it saying, hey, you got an invoice, please download it now. Don't actually click on those, okay? You're not getting an invoice. Somebody trying to fish for information. A lot of times, if somebody does click on those viruses will stay in the email and won't migrate it to your computer. Anti-phishing software does in the top right corner or top left corner, but it works for you. Meaning if you get an email from a known spammer, that email goes straight into your spam box and not your inbox. Email encryption. How encryption used to work? I want to send you an email, so I send you a message through a secure platform. So then I go into the platform, it sends a message to you saying, you got a message from Brandon, please log into the platform. So you're like, okay, you log into the platform and then you respond back to Brandon. So then Brandon gets a message saying that you responded. So then I have to go back into the platform. Everyone know what I'm talking about? Okay, that's how encryption used to work. Microsoft Office 365 and Google G Suite automatically encrypt every outgoing message now. Automatically. Okay? So there's just a little toggle you hit when you set up the email. All messages are encrypted. Pretty easy. Desktop and mobile integration. If you reply to something on your phone, it's replied to on the other device. This way you don't cross your wires. Reply to the same thing twice. And then 50 gigs of storage. Usually that's what I recommend, not 5 gigs. 5 gigs can run out pretty quick when you're sending medical information and collecting records. I had an office that works with another company, and I was doing some consulting for them. And she's like, why are all my old emails being deleted? And it was because she had hit her 5 gigabyte maximum. So all the old emails were being deleted as new ones were coming in. Really, really annoying, right? And so 50 gigs of storage is typically the minimum that we want to do. That's enough for like 250,000 emails. Okay, you think that's just a lot, but when you're sending medical records, it's like maybe 15 or 20,000. You think that that's a lot? It'll go through pretty quick. Okay? And you can always add storage to this. One of my clients has a terabyte of email. Terabyte. That's a lot of emails. Anybody have any questions on this? No questions on emails? Perfect. Now the website. Everybody have a website, right? Yes? Okay, awesome. Okay. So how website design companies have worked over the last 30 years is they basically set up a server, build websites for those servers, and then sell you those websites. Okay? Now, the website company typically doesn't make a lot of money off of the website hosting fees. The hosting fee is like the rent for your website. You know, you stop paying your landlord rent, he puts a lock on your door. Stop paying your website hosting rent, they put a lock on your website. Okay? So they don't make really a lot of money on the hosting fees. So what did companies used to do? Well, they would build better servers with better technology and better websites. And in an effort to get you to pay to upgrade. They don't just give you that technology. They don't just give access to those websites. You have to pay to upgrade. And they do this every 6 months like clockwork, right? And if you don't pay to upgrade, what ends up happening is that when you go to your website, somebody clicks on it, doesn't properly load. Or there's a widget that's broken. Or security license isn't renewed. Or, oops, nothing's here, 404 page error. Because those old servers, they're not maintained anymore. Okay? So all their staff are on the newer servers with the newer technology. Okay? So if you're on an old server, you're going to start developing problems, or you will have a noticeable difference between the design of your website versus like modernized websites. Okay? So you want to work with a web company that has the ability to be able to just give you technology when it's available. So instead of you having to pay to upgrade, you need to work with a company that just says, hey, we found a better way to format your website, so we're just going to update it for you. Because I will tell you, as like a web and marketing company, it's a lot easier to keep someone's website updated as time goes on rather than having to rebuild the thing every couple of years. Having to rebuild a website's like 100 to 200 hours. But if I can keep it updated with modernized technology as we go along, it's like 5 minutes. Every couple of months, 5 minutes, poof, new technology. 5 minutes, poof, new technology. Right? Rather than having to like restructure the whole thing every couple of years. Okay? Anybody have any questions on this part so far? What, for hosting? Oh, no. I mean, like most, it depends on the company that you're with. So like some companies will introduce new technology to their servers annually. Some companies will do it monthly. Some will do it quarterly, right? It just depends on how innovative they are. Okay? What? Yeah, I don't. No, what we're talking about, he's asking about AVG. AVG it has to do with your actual desktop computer itself. It has nothing to do with the website. Now, they do have a website browser that has like security features, but like they do have a free license that it can offer that. Personally, I don't pay for AVG. I have it. I don't pay for it. So I wouldn't, right? But I'm not a security expert in terms of hardware like that. Talk to your IT company. Okay? Now, when it comes to building a website, okay, there are 3 main parts. So you kind of have to build this website 3 times, okay? The first time you're building it, you're putting together the structure. Anybody ever built a house before? No? You're kind of, you got the layout, right? Everyone knows the blueprints. That's essentially what you're doing. It's called wireframing. You wireframe your entire website, what it's going to look like, okay? Then what you do is you start populating it with your design and your content. Your colors, your pictures, your logo, your verbiage, your videos, right? All that information starts getting put into it. Then you have to go over it again to make sure that the technology works. So how the website's going to function. If I click this, it goes here. If I click that, it goes there. Okay? Now, some important things that you want to keep in mind when you are building your website, you want to keep it simple. Now, I'm not talking one page simple, guys. You know, you don't want to scroll 14 times on the main page to get to the bottom. Okay, 1-page website, that's it. You don't want that. Mainly because the average person only scrolls 4 times. 4 times. That's not what I need by. 4 times, okay? So keep it simple, okay? You want to review it every 3 to 6 months, okay? Because your web company doesn't know changes that happen in your business. I don't know if you have new technology. I don't know if you changed your staff or you modified your hours. You have that. And so you have to keep open communication with your web company so that they can make modifications to your website for you. Okay? You want to test it out. So sometimes when you ask your web company, especially in like your bio, to link to like, I don't know, your school or your association, sometimes those third-party websites that you link to will take down those pages for some reason. So it's important for you to make sure that whatever you're linking to is still accurate. Okay? It's not your web company's responsibility to make sure that those links are accurate. It's yours. Okay? Specifically the ones that are in your bio. Okay? And then you have to update it. You have to update your website. If you notice mistakes, fix them. Right? Don't assume that your web company is going to spot every single mistake. I mean, like, we're good, but we only capture 98.6% of issues on the website. So, like, that's very good, by the way. The average company doesn't even do it. So when we review websites, you want to make sure that you are asking your company, if you spot something, say, hey, this doesn't format correctly, or like this line is off, like just ask them to do it. It takes 2 seconds. Like literally, we could hop on a call right now and I can build an entire page of a website within less than 5 minutes with you on a call. It's very easy to do changes. Okay. Anybody have any questions on website design? Awesome. Next, we want to optimize. Everybody know about optimization? I will give bonus points if someone comes up here right now to do the presentation on optimization. Starbucks gift cards. Anybody? No takers? Okay. All right. Yeah? Okay. So it's it can be very complicated. So I'm going to break this down really easy for you, okay? There's 2 types of optimization. You've got static and you've got dynamic. So static are keywords that are built per page, meaning I've got a page on root canals. I've got a page on implants. I got a page on ortho for peds, for cleaning, and everything else that I do. And everything else that I do. Attached to each one of those pages are keywords that are specific only to that page. So if I go online and I type in like root canal, or if I go online and I type in like pain in tooth, my root canal page will pop up. Toothache, right? If I go online and I type in missing tooth or dental implant, the dental implant page will show up. Everyone with me on that so far? Yeah, they're static, but we can hold it. Can we hold the questions to the end? Sorry. Let me explain and then we can ask questions. So that's the static. Everyone with me on what a static keyword is, right? Okay. Dynamic is a combination to the static. So a combination to the static means if I've got a word like emergency dentist, okay? Emergency dentist being static near me is dynamic. Emergency dentist open now. Female emergency dentist who speaks Spanish, emergency dentist in Orlando, emergency dentist on Main Street. Child emergency dentist. You see how many combinations you can have with one single static keyword? Could have 50, 100 different dynamic combinations. So this is why search engine optimization is a paid service, okay? Because each page of your website could have potentially thousands of different dynamic combinations attached to it. Everyone's with me on that, right? Okay. Now, you want to make sure specifically your static keywords are page specific. Mainly because if somebody goes to your page, let's say they're looking up like dental implants, but you've optimized your website wrong, and then the patient says, hey, dental implants, let me click on that. And then they land on the pediatric page. What the hell is this? What do you think the patient's going to do? They're going to bounce out of your website. They're going to leave. The more people who bounce, the lower your ranking on Google. Okay, everyone heard bounce rate before? You want to keep that bounce rate as low as possible by drawing the right traffic to the right page. Okay? That piece has to do with time of year. So people search differently in the spring than they do in the fall. Okay, for teeth whitening. In the spring, it's primarily related to weddings. In fall, it's related to kids going off to school. They want a brighter smile. Okay? So the keywords are going to be different. So what happens is you've got 100 keywords on each page of your website, and let's say 50 of them are really good and 50 of them suck. Okay? 0 out of 10. They don't draw any traffic. There's no benefit to the middle. Okay? Hopefully that works. And so what you want to do is you want to replace those keywords that don't work in hopes that every keyword will rank well. So the more traffic each keyword generates, the more traffic the page generates, the more traffic the overall website generates. Everyone with me on that? So you want to replace keywords that are bad in hopes that you're replacing them with keywords that are good. Okay? Now you want to combine your words. So anyone ever heard of a meta phrase? A meta phrase? No? Basically, it's a combination of words that create a statement, okay? So 50% of people that search for things are doing so like dentist near me, right? Or like dentist open now, right? The other 50% are searching things like, why do my teeth hurt? How do I get my teeth whiter from home? How do I fix the cracked tooth? Okay? So what you want to do is you want to combine your static and dynamic keywords together to start creating phrases. And those phrases will typically be answered in a blog. How many of you know about blogs? All right, everybody typically knows what a blog is, but know how it works. That's what I'm going to explain. So what you want to do is you want to set up your blog backend. Okay, now you want to build your blog through a system called an RSS feed. So Romeo style Sal feed. Okay, the reason being is because this piece of technology, basically when you republish your website, almost sends out like a beacon to search engines to come back and scan your website for new content. So if you don't build your blog through an RSS feed, anytime you add content, Google really doesn't care. So they'll just come and scan your website every 6 months like they do with everybody else. Okay? Now, on the back end of your website, there are 3 pieces of information that you want to give Google or DuckDuckGo or Microsoft Bing or whatever. 3 pieces of information. You want to tell it who you are, where you are, and what you do. I'm a dentist in Orlando. I do emergencies, children, and implants. Okay? Next, what you want to do is you want to categorize your content. So what I mean by, I'm just going to move around because like I hear that signal like faintly in my ear, right? What you want to do is you want to categorize your keywords. So there is a system that you can hook up to your website. It's called Google Search Console. like an Xbox console, not console. Okay. Google Search Console. Okay. It's a free system you plug into your website that allows Google to track all the keywords that people type in and how much traffic each keyword generates and how you rank for each word. So like I'm on the fourth page in the third position, or the first page in the ninth position. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to categorize your words. These are the ones for implants. These are the ones for verse. These are the ones for root canals, or you can categorize them together like based on procedures or however you want. Then what you're going to do is you're going to rank them. So which keywords, which categories are producing the most amount of traffic, right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to build content for them, right? Why would I start building a blog content around like abscesses, right? Or if I get content from you and you're like, hey, can you write something about dental hygiene? I'm like, I can, but I mean, like you would really only write blogs for two reasons. One, you're going to use it personally. The second reason you write a blog primarily is so that you get found on Google. Everyone's with me on that? Okay. So I don't want to be writing blog content just willy-nilly. I want to do it with a purpose. And that purpose is actually based on analytical data from Google. What are your top ranking keywords? And then you write content based on the top ranking keywords. Now, the caveat to that is that you want to do so, you want to look at that data within a 30 to 60 day period. Because remember, people search differently in spring than they do in the fall. So if you're looking at data that's too long, you might be having, your keywords might be swayed one way. Be like, hey, I got a lot of traffic for teeth whitening, even though teeth whitening was like a March keyword, but not a September keyword. So now you're building content for teeth whitening, even though it's not even relevant anymore. So you want to be searching based on a 30 to 60 day window. You want to look at your keywords, then you want to build content based on that 30 to 60 day window. So whatever the popular words are that people are searching, that's what you're going to build content on now. Everyone's got that? Perfect. Any questions?
What was the name of that site, that console?
Google Search Console. Okay. Anybody else have any questions on blogs at all? Perfect. Now, some pro tips. You want to post every 2 to 4 weeks. If you don't, your RSS feed will become stagnant. And when that happens, when you rewrite new content on your RSS feed, Google won't care. So if you just let your RSS feed go for a couple of months and then you try to reprompt it, right? You write a blog post, sure, no problem, like you've sent the signal. Google will be like, no, I'm sorry, I can't rely on you to write me content on a regular basis. So like I'll scan you when I scan you. They get really petty about it. Okay. So you got to make sure you're keeping your blog content active by writing every 2 to 4 weeks. Okay. You want to post a minimum of 50 keywords per blog post, right? You write a blog post about implants. Okay. That's great. Dental implants. Okay. But if that's the only keyword that you're writing about, the person literally has to type in dental implants in order for you to find it. But what if we talk about dental implant maintenance, cost of dental implant surgery, all on X, single tooth, dental crowns, right? And then you can write other blog posts about dental crowns and then link to this blog post. It's called internal linking. We'll talk about it in a couple slides, okay? You want to include anywhere between 750 to 2,000 words. Anything less than that, and it's not really a blog. Anything more than that, you lose the patient in the details. And then you include some personal images, okay? Custom images, I say, custom. The reason why I'm saying custom is because personal images would be like, hey, I know I just did your implant, smile, right? And then we do a selfie and then we put it online, okay? That's not what you want to do. I mean, like you could if you have the patience okay to do that, okay? Custom images could be a stock photo with your color scheme over it or your logo in the bottom right-hand corner, okay? Any questions on this? Awesome. Next, we want to optimize your website. Now, there are specific places in your website that you need to optimize. So one of those places is in the tab of the actual browser itself, okay? Next is in the URL suffix, so after the .com or .ca. After that are the navigation tabs, okay? So everybody's Googled something, like Google the business and seen like home, about, services, contact, right? That's what that is, okay? Next is something called the page header. This specific one is called an H1 header. Out of about 200 things that Google looks at, this is like a number 2 or number 3 item in terms of importance, okay? So if it just said bad breath, do you think Google would know who to have that page show up to? Probably not. So, remember those meta phrases I was talking about? You're combining static and dynamic keywords together. Okay, the reason why it says bad breath treatment and not bad breath symptoms, not bad breath issues, right, It says treatments because when we were looking at the top ranking keywords for this particular dentist, treatments was like 90% of the reason why people searched up bad breath. So if it was at the top of the page, Google would be like, hey, people are looking at bad breath treatment. These guys have bad breath treatment, bang, right at the top. Let's have them show up. But we do it one step further because they're based in Victoria, BC. So we include the location of where they are. So if anybody in Victoria, BC looks up bad breath treatment in Victoria, that page will show up number one. Okay? Now, after that, we want to make sure that we are including a page summary. This provides Google with a synopsis of what the page is ultimately about. Then is the content on the page. Now, the content needs to be ranked according to how much traffic it generates. You remember when we were going over the Search Console in terms of categories and which are your top categories to write blog content about? Same thing for writing content on a page. What should go first? Treatments, causes, symptoms, right? The only person who knows is Google. So what you're going to do is you're going to categorize your keywords for each page, and then you're going to rank your content. So put the top sought after content at the top, followed by the next, followed by the next, followed by the next. It's called appealing to the masses. You want to draw the right traffic to the page, and then you want to keep them on the page while they read down it. Okay? Because remember, the average person only scrolls 4 times, so you don't want to put that sought after content at the bottom. Everyone with me on that? Okay. Next is something called the page title and description. In my opinion, this is the number one thing that Google looks at. Number one. Very important. So when you Google anything right now, you're going to see 2 pieces of information for every search result. You'll see big letters, that's the title. It says like, hey, need a dentist, call now. And then you'll see a short description about what that link is about. Everyone know what I'm talking about? Okay, title, description, that's a search result. Okay? You can manipulate that for every single page of your website. So you have to write it really for 3 people. You're writing it for you so it's clinically accurate. You're writing it for Google so that they can find it. And you're writing it for the patient so that they can understand it. So if you just write, let's just say the title and description on the back end of Google, dental implants, dental implants, dental implants. And then on the description, you're like, hey, get a dental implant, need a dental implant, get a dental implant. I do dental implants today. Google might say, hey, that's amazing. You've got lots of keywords, but nobody's clicking on it, right? Why isn't anybody clicking on it? Because it looks like clickbait. Anybody ever heard that term, clickbait? Right? It looks fishy, right? You don't know what you're doing when you're putting in the title and description. So the actual title of the dental implants page should read something like, lost a tooth, get a dental implant. Whether you need 1 tooth, 2 teeth, or a full arch of teeth, we can do the surgery and restoration. Call today for prices and consultation. Prices, implants, consultation, 1 tooth, 2 teeth, full arch. It's got all the keywords related to implants in the title and description. Okay? Now the title is limited to 60 characters and the description is limited to 160. So you have to be very innovative when you're thinking about a title and description that's keyword rich and written so when people read it, they want to click on it. Okay? Very, very important. And you have to manipulate the title and description for every single page of your site. Okay? So the emergency page is going to be different than the root canal, than the peds, than the home, than the contact, than the about, than the insurance, than the financing page. All different titles, all different descriptions. Now, what I'm talking about here is I don't want to see when I optimize somebody's website, dental financing, brand and dentistry, dental insurance, brand and dentistry, dental or dental implants, brand and dentistry, root canals, brand and dentistry. Like, what a waste of space. Google knows it's brand and dentistry. Don't put brand and dentistry in the title, right? Use the title, use the description to your advantage, okay? And then the descriptions, oh my gosh, sometimes they're so bad. It's like, need a dentist at Mount Pleasant? We can help. We do root canals. Call today. Here's our phone number. Need a dentist on Mount Pleasant for dental implants? Call today. Here's our phone number. Like, you don't do stuff like that. A lot of web companies will do that and they think it's optimization. It's not. You're repeating the same content page over page over page over page. Okay? From an optimization perspective, like, you're a 0. Like, that sucks. But you want to make sure that you are manipulating the title and description accurately for every single page of your site. Okay? And I'll actually show you some tips and tricks on how to make sure, in a few slides, make sure that your web company is doing it properly. Okay? Then is your local business schema. So this is basically a page of code that you add to your website that helps Google Maps find and navigate local businesses to present to local searchers. So basically, the closer someone is to your office, the higher you get found on your search results. Okay? Any questions on optimization at all? Perfect. Now, why do we do it? Well, because there's lots of keywords that somebody could type in. You know, I was actually looking at somebody's website. They were optimized for 11 keywords yesterday. 11. Look how many I got on this page. This was put together in about 2 minutes. Crazy, right? So you want to optimize yourself for lots of different dynamic and static combinations. And you do this because anybody can type in whatever they want. And essentially what we want to have happen is when they type in that keyword, we want that specific page to show up. So you don't see the implant page here. You don't see the contact page. You don't see the about page. It's, I typed ortho, I see ortho, so what do I do as a patient? I click on it. Okay, I make a click because that's exactly what I typed in. Pretty cool, right? Awesome. Next, Google Business Profile. Everybody have a map page for their business? I actually helped somebody set it up yesterday. It was very quick. Show of hands, how many people have a claim on their page? They know for a fact that they own it. 3, 4 people? Okay. So this is what I'm talking about. This is your maps section to Google. Okay. If you don't have this, you can easily set it up. Just Google Business Profile. Okay. Then follow the prompts to set it up. It'll take you 5 minutes. If you do have a profile, but you don't own it, you can actually Google yourself. You see the maps. It says own this business. So you own it, you follow the verification steps, okay? Now, beyond that, once you own it, you'll have access to some back-end things for the maps. And what you want to do is you want to edit your profile. Editing the profile will take anywhere between 2 and 5 hours to do. This is not something that's easy, okay? Because you're going to put things in here like your hours of operation or your holiday hours, your description about your business, your pictures, which includes your logo and your cover pictures. You can include your social media links, insurance information, services you offer with descriptions and pictures and pricing information. It can be quite vast, okay? Now, once that's done, you want to make sure you're categorizing them into different groups. So if you do have multiple locations, Google gives you another system that allows you to categorize them separately, okay? Now, beyond this, and everyone should pay attention to this next part, okay? So on the map section, if you scroll down, you have an announcements part. This announcements part is basically like a social component attached to the map section of your Google Business Profile. Okay, these are optimized posts. It's like little blog posts that you can put directly on here. Announcements about new staff members, new promotions that you've got, or the services that you offer, whatever it is, okay? So you want to make sure that you are doing this every 2 to 3 weeks, okay? One post every 2 to 3 weeks. And then you want to respond to your reviews. Okay, and I'll talk about reviews in a few slides. Okay, but you want to make sure that you are responding to all reviews. But if you don't have anything nice to say to a negative one, just do not reply. Please do not reply. Any questions on Google Business Profile? No. Liking a review just says, hey, good content. But responding actually, Google indexes the response. So I'll talk about that in a couple of slides. Anybody else have any questions on reviews? Or Google? You can. Yeah. She's asking if you can reply to a review. You can actually go in and you can delete the response and then redo it. The only reason why I would not do something like that is because they get a notification that you've done that, the person who left the review. Yeah, so what ends up happening in that sort of circumstance, if somebody left a bad review and then you left a bad response, it started a fire. So now what you want to do is you want to remove that and you want to write something else. You know what's going to happen? They're going to get notified that you responded to the review. They're going to go in and if they don't like what you said, they're going to go and update the review, and then you're going to get a prompt saying that they updated it. Oh yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Huh? Exactly. Yeah. It'll inspire them to go other places to write the review again. So just don't. Yeah. Okay. So you might not own it. You might not own it. They could own it, but you might not. Yeah. Okay. So someone in the office should always be one of the managers or one of the owners on the page. Okay. Oh, if you scroll down like this, you scroll down, you should be able to do it. Yeah. If you don't have any announcements right now, it'll say like make an update or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Now, once Google's done, you're going to start using Bing. How many of you use Microsoft Bing? Show of hands. 2 people. Guess what? I know some of you are lying because 30% of the world use it and they don't even know. Hey, if you look up Google and Bing right now, side by side on desktops, they look almost identical. Okay? So it's a default browser for Microsoft computers. So a lot of people don't even realize that they're actually using Bing as their default browser. Fun fact, right? So go to your browser at your desktop when you get back to your office or your home and actually look if it says Microsoft Bing in the top left corner. Now Bing has a maps section as well, just like Google does. So what you want to do is you want to log in to Microsoft Bing. Okay. You're going to log in using your Google credentials. Then what you're going to do is you're going to sync your Bing page and your Google page. So Bing's going to be like, hey, give me everything. And then Google's just going to give it everything. And then what you're going to do is you're going to just make sure it was accurate. This will take you less than 5 minutes. This will be the easiest thing you can do today. Okay. And this normally would take like a good 2 hours to do, maybe an hour and a half. But since you sync your Google and Bing pages together, less than 5 minutes. Pretty easy. Any questions on Bing? Awesome. Now, chatbots. How many of you use a chatbot on your website? How many of you hate using chatbots personally? Yeah. Guess what? It's a conversion tool. Just like a click to call now button, right? Just like a web form, just like a book online, just like a chatbot. Okay. It's a conversion tool. Not everybody has the ability to call you. Not everybody wants to call you. Not everybody wants to fill out a web form. Sometimes they want responses, but not from a real person. People convert differently. So you want to put all the conversion tools you possibly can on your website. People will choose the method that's convenient for them. Okay. Has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the people that are using it. Okay. Now there's lots of different types of chat systems out there. There's AI systems that can be very expensive. There are systems that are free text where you can write a response to it and then it has predetermined responses back. The only issue with doing something like that is that the bot doesn't understand what the person said. Then the bot's like, I'm sorry, please repeat that. I'm sorry, please repeat that. I'm sorry. Do you see how annoying that is? And that's what the patient's gonna be like, screw this, I'm out. All right? So what you want to do is you want to have preset responses and preset answers. Easiest thing, very simple, but effective. Okay? So what you want to do is you want to set up all the list of procedures that you do. Okay? And you can categorize them based on groups like cosmetic or restorative or preventive or whatever it is. Or you can group them together based on certain procedures. Then what you want to do is you want to build a story for each one of these. So what's the bot going to say when the person engages with this component? Then what you want to do is you want to tie them together. Okay? Now, it looks complicated. I promise you it is. It's vastly more complicated than this. Okay? But basically the first column, imagine this is talking about cosmetics. And at the end it says, would you like to book an appointment for cosmetics? Learn about something else. The patient says, well, you know what? Why don't you tell me about teeth whitening? The bot says, okay, here's the info on teeth whitening. Would you like to book an appointment for teeth whitening or learn about something else? And it keeps doing this until the person says, you know what, let's book an appointment. So the bot says, okay, can I get your name, email, your phone number, best time to call, and primary concern? So then your staff get an email that looks like this. It says, hey, Brandon's looking for teeth whitening. Here's his contact information and his chat history. Please give him a call. Pretty simple, right? So then all you have to do is pick up the phone and book the appointment. And why don't you email somebody back? What's the percentage of emails that go to the patient standbox? Anyone remember? 70%. So anybody seen Wolf of Wall Street in here? Pick up the phone and start dialing. Pick up the phone and start dialing. The patient just emailed you. Why would you wait on that? Pick up the phone and be like, hey, I got the message. When can we get you in? Oh, I saw that you're available Thursday. Awesome. We're free too. Why would you email them back? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you wait until, 3 days later to email them? Now, if you do call them and they don't pick up the phone, that's fine. Don't throw the lead in the garbage. Call them back in a couple of hours. Call them back the next day. Leave them a voicemail, right? Try. They just emailed you. Try to get them on the phone, okay? Don't try once and then call your marketing company and be like, it's not working. Nobody's picking up. How many times did you try? Once? Well, it's not my fault. Sales, guys. It's sales. It's sales. Pick up the phone. Try to get them. They just emailed you. They're clearly interested. Okay, but I'm in a seminar right now. I could have sent an email to someone. I actually sent an email to someone last night. They still haven't responded. Okay, but I mean, like, if they get back to me and they try to call me right now, which I'm pretty sure they did, right? I'm not going to answer them. I'll call them back when I'm free. Same thing with patients. When they email you, they might not be available to pick up the phone. Very important. And this is how a chatbot functions. So here's the response, or here's the question, and here are the responses. All you have to do is select the one for you. Just tap on it. Goes down. Tap on it. Go down. Very easy. Okay? Anybody have any questions on chatbots? So as a patient, if they get into the psychology of a patient, right? When they're looking for a service, I go to Google, I type in best teeth whitening provider near me. I open up 10 websites, 10 different websites, top 10, whatever it is. Okay. I open up all 10. I see the browsers. I start flicking through the websites and I'm like, this brand doesn't match me. I don't like their website. I don't like their hours. I don't like this doctor's face for whatever reason. Now they're down to 3 or 4. What ends up happening is they will call or email every single one of them. First one to call them back gets the business. So if they don't call you back, probably because you didn't email them back or get in touch with them fast enough. Now that's usually the case. So when I do my consulting work, that's usually the case, that they don't call you back or you haven't called back fast enough. Okay. So it could be that maybe you're calling them at odd times. It could be that you've tried to call them at lunchtime, but they're out for lunch with a client. And every time you've tried to reach them, it's inconvenient. Maybe you don't leave voicemails. Maybe you do leave voicemails and they just don't like the way you talk. There could be any number of reasons why people don't get in touch with you. Okay. But usually it's because you don't call them back fast enough. Okay. Now, one other piece of advice I'm going to give everybody: when you get a missed phone call, call it back. You would not believe how much business you were missing from not calling back your missed phone calls. Literally, I'm not joking this. No office that I've ever done consulting for has ever called back a missed phone call. But when they have started doing it, their new patients almost doubled month over month. Because what happens, imagine, get into the psychology of a patient for a second. I'm calling a medical office, brand new, and I call your office and I just say, hey, you know what? I'm calling the office. No one picks up. The patient says, I'm not leaving my medical information on a voicemail. So what does the patient do? They leave a voicemail. So you get a missed phone call. What ends up happening? You know what your staff do most of the time? I see some staff in here. What they end up doing? Missed phone calls. Delete, 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 delete. I see some staff in here. I hope you guys don't do that and you actually call back your missed phone calls. Okay? You would not believe how much business. Oh yeah, I did call you. Thank you so much for calling me back. Okay? Now, fun fact as well, 60% of the leads you're going to get are going to come in after your office is already closed. Evenings and weekends. Okay? So call back your missed phone calls. No questions on the chatbot? Perfect. We're moving on. Build your website popularity. Okay. Best way to do this is through directories. Now, there's lots of directories out there. Yellow Pages, RateMDs, MapQuest, HealthGrades, Apple Maps. There's literally so many. Now, what you want to do is you want to find the directory and you want to add yourself to it. All the information you just put on Google, like your Google business, you are now going to add into the directory. Exact same. Spelled the same way, same periods, same hyphens, the exact same along the way, okay? The reason it has to be the same is because the last item on this list is called a website URL or a backlink. This is a link that leads to your website not from Google, but from an alternative source. The more backlinks you have, the higher you get found on Google. But the caveat is that the information needs to be accurate. If it's not, none of this will matter. Okay, the backlink won't count. Google won't care if there's one piece of wrong information. Okay, very important. So instead of you doing this one by one by one by one, what you're going to do is you're going to work with something called an aggregator. So an aggregator is basically a business that controls groups of directories. So I just added Yellow Pages into my list, or I just added Yext or Yelp, or I just added like RateMDs or HealthGrades, or I just added one of these guys into my list. Okay. So the aggregator says, okay, I'm going to make sure that you get all this medical information from this office. Okay. An aggregator pushes your information out to the internet on your behalf. So there are lots of different aggregators. There's local ones, there's national ones, there's industry specific ones. Some are free, some are paid, some are commercial that I can work with, some are consumer that you can work with. Okay. There's lots of different aggregators out there. Some of them are merging together. Some of them are going away. And then the directories need to find new aggregators to work with. Basically, directories don't want to work with individual businesses one-on-one. They want to work with aggregators that push information into their directory so that they have a vast directory that people will come to. Okay? Does everyone see how that works? Okay. So basically, the reason why we want to work with aggregators is because they build links that lead to your website. Now, there are 3 kinds of links. Okay. You've got internal linking that goes from page to page of your website. Remember when we were talking about blogs and crowns and implants, and then you're linking from blog to blog? That's called internal linking. You have external linking that goes from your website to an external source. And then you've got directory links that go from an external source back to your site. You have to do all 3. Now, everyone remember the Google Search Console that I explained earlier? There's another part to that system aside from tracking all the keywords and how you rank that tells you all the links that you have and where they are. So if I see that Yellow Pages is missing, I'll add it to Yellow. I'll go in Yellow Pages and we'll update it. If I see that 411's missing, we'll do the same thing. Okay? It's a free system you can plug into your site. Now, it comes in a little bit this is kind of like raw data, so it might be difficult for the average person to understand. But if you have a marketing company that knows how to do this, you're good. Any questions on linking at all? Awesome. Website accessibility. How many of you have ever seen this feature before? Sometimes it's a question mark, pair of glasses, guy in a wheelchair. No? Some people? Okay. Basically, it's a feature you add to your website that helps people with disabilities use it. Vision impairments, right? Your website can be read to you or increase the text size. If you're deaf, the website, if the website can be read to you if you're deaf, not if you're deaf, sorry, it can be closed caption if you're deaf. I'm colorblind, as an example. Actually, I am colorblind. So I use this feature sometimes to see the colors on a website. It's pretty cool, right? If you have dyslexia, it can change the font, right? If you have ADHD, it'll pause or remove the animations. Or if you're epileptic, it'll mute the colors. It's actually a pretty cool feature. It's also mandatory. So, fun fact, the Canadian and U.S. governments banded together in February last year to release the Website Accessibility Guidelines Act, WCAG, okay? WCAG. It basically means that if anybody tries to engage with your website and they can't, they can sue you. It's the stupidest thing ever, but I get it, right? One of my clients in New York City went through this. He wasn't a client of mine at the time. He basically called me in a panic because his website company couldn't give him an accessibility feature, and he was getting sued for $1.1 million. I know, crazy, right? So, but there's stipulations in there where, now, this is not medical advice or not legal advice, so don't take my word on it. But there are stipulations in there that say that they have to give you the benefit of the doubt to be able to rectify the problem before they can actually sue you. Okay? So we went in, we built them a new website, we rectified the problem, lawsuit went away. Okay? So make sure that you get this feature. It's not much. Sometimes they're free, and some of them are really, really bad. We'll increase the text size. It's a free feature. Then you get features like the doctor marketing one I'm just saying. This one is very inclusive, okay? So some companies offer free ones, some of them offer paid ones, okay? Now, the benefits, aside from helping people with disabilities, is that it gives you bonus marks for optimization, right? Google thinks that your website is now technologically advanced. So the more advanced you make your website, the more Google gives you in terms of bonuses. It has the same effect if you were to add a chatbot to your website. You add a chatbot, Google thinks that you're now more inclusive, right? Same thing with this. Any questions on the website accessibility? Perfect. Reviews. There are 4 ways to generate reviews. 4 ways. Let's make some guesses. What are those 4 ways? Asking how. In person, sure. Text, sure. Okay, there we got 2. So it's 3. Yeah, you were. Yeah, you said it at the same time. That was perfect. Anyone would think it gets it the first and best way to generate reviews? No? Surveys. Surveys. You send a survey to somebody, it's a fun fact about these things is that you can manipulate them. You send a survey to someone, hey, would you mind just giving me some feedback? Sure. It's like, would you recommend our office to somebody else? Yes or no? They say yes. It's like, perfect. Would you mind leaving us a Google review? It's like, awesome. If they say no, it just says, thanks, have a great day. Right? Like this way it keeps any negative comments offline. Okay? Circumventing. Right? First and best way. Second way, sign in the waiting room or in the operatory. One of my clients, you lean back in his chair and on the ceiling panel, it's got a QR code saying, leave me a review. Yeah. You could ask for it during the appointment. This one's a little bit tricky. Don't lean the patient back in the chair and say, hey, can I get 5 stars? Right? While you're like doing a crown, don't do that. Or like, hey, I know I just did like 6 fillings for your kid, so here's your $3,000 bill. And can I get 5 stars? So you got to kind of pick and choose that moment, okay? Now, if you're uncomfortable with these, you can send an email post-appointment just saying, hey, it was a pleasure. Would you mind leaving me a review? Here's our link. Okay? And Google indexes the review and the response to the review. Okay? The review Google indexes and the response. Okay? So let's just say you have 1,000 Google reviews, all of them are just thumbs up. I have one Google review that says that I'm the best dentist in Orlando. I am always going to show up above you. Why? Because I have content in my review. You don't. So if you ever wonder how people show up higher on Google Maps, is because they have more content in that review related to the keywords that somebody's searching for. So if you had to get the content in the review, you kind of have to ask people to leave it as a joke. You'd be like, in person, I'm just going to ask you, like, can I get a 5-star review? Okay. Well, it's not the response I'm looking for. The average person, can I get a 5-star review? Well, see? And it's kind of aggressive, right? Can I get 5 stars? You don't really know how to ask for it, right? You say it. You say, hey, like, would you mind leaving me like a 5-star review and just say that I'm like the best or something? You don't have to, just leave me 5 stars. You know what? Right. But I mean, like, if you ask it kind of like a joke, they're going to take it seriously and be like, you know what? Damn, this guy's good. 5 stars. You're the best at this, best at that, best here, best there, best everywhere. Okay? And like, I'm not joking, right? You say it as a joke, they will take it seriously. You say it seriously, they will take it as a joke. Okay? Now, and the response, very, very, very important. The response is so important. If you just say, thanks for the review, do you think Google cares? No. So you have to make sure that your response is HIPAA compliant and keyword rich. You cannot say, thank you for coming in. Just broke HIPAA compliance. Right, you just admitted that they were a patient. You can say, thank you for the review, because anyone can leave reviews. Positive or negative, we want to make sure everyone has the best dental experience in Orlando at Brandon Dentistry. If you need anything for an emergency, cosmetic procedure, or same-day appointment, call today, free consultations. Here's my phone number. Right? Riddled with keywords. Now, you can manipulate it multiple times based on the response, but you don't want to admit that they were a patient, but you want to be keyword rich. So you kind of have to find that fine line. Okay? Now, who can leave reviews? There are 4 people that can leave reviews. Who are they? Who? The patients, right? Oh yeah, who can leave reviews? Patient staff? 2 more. Good. Yeah, oh, yes. These are great. The last one, does anybody want to take a guess what that is? Oh, well, like, that counts as friends, family, like, oh, it still counts. Friends, family. Okay, you got the difficult one, which is great. Your patients can leave reviews. Your staff can leave reviews, what it's like working for you. Your vendors can leave reviews. How many of you bought something today or yesterday or the day before? Somebody told me that they bought like an $80,000 piece of equipment. Like, go back to their booth and ask them for a 5-star review. Like, why would you not? I'm sure everyone in their entire group would do it. And then, yes, you. How many of you left a review for yourself? 1 person. Why haven't you left a review for yourself? Who cares? There's no rule that says that. No one cares that you leave a review for yourself. I'll leave one on Google, Yelp, RateMDs, Health Grades, Better Business Bureau, Rate-A-Biz. There's like 6 places I can leave a review for myself, 5 stars today. hey, my name is Dr. I'm not actually a doctor, by the way, just white lab coat. It's part of the brand. My name is Dr. Brandon. I am a great dentist in Orlando. I'm a family dentist. I've got a great smile. I'll help you smile too. Why would you not do that? People want to hear from you too. There's no rule that says that you can't leave yourself a 5-star review. And guess what? I'm sure all of you could open your phone right now and find 10 people to do the same thing for you today. Imagine you ask, hey, would you mind leaving me a review on Google and Yelp and like Rate-A-Biz or something like that? You get 3 reviews from 10 different people. There's 30 reviews you can get right now. Super easy, right? So do this one. Okay. Any questions on reviews? Yeah. Good question. He's asking if you should go back and write reviews or what the timeline is to respond to it. That is a good question. Typically, for us, I don't like to respond to the review right away. Because you respond to it right away, all that hype is gone. Somebody leaves you a great 5-star review, you immediately respond and they're like, oh, thanks, that was great. But if they leave you a 5-star review today, they might talk about you. But then if you respond to it, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days later, they're like, oh yeah, I remember writing that. He's a great dentist. It almost kind of like twitches in their brain that they're like, oh, here's another good, I left that review, so I'm going to talk about you again. So I'm going to talk about you when I leave it, and then I'm going to talk about it because I get a prompt when you respond, right? So it lets them kind of remember. So I don't respond to them right away on purpose, but usually I wait anywhere between 1 and 3 weeks to respond back because then it'll re-prompt them to talk about you again. Okay? That's not true. She's asking about the location of where the person leaves the review. Your device is different than mine, different than his, and different than his. Every device has their own IP address. So if I left 5 reviews from the same device, all 5 of those could get flagged for removal. It doesn't matter if literally all of you right now could leave a review for Dr. Marketing. All of these reviews would be legitimate according to Google because they're all different IP addresses. It doesn't matter if you're connected to the same Wi-Fi network as well. Oh yeah, I just said doesn't matter with the Wi-Fi. Does not matter with the Wi-Fi because it's a different IP address. The device itself has its own IP address. It's called a MAC address. It's got its own address. Okay? Just as long as you're not like, I'm not logging into your device to leave a review and she's not logging into your device to leave a review on her account. As long as you're not doing that, you're good. Exactly. Don't do that. Oh, yeah. Why does Yelp get rid of so many good reviews? Why? Because they're a paid service. You have to pay. Just like RateMDs, you have to pay to remove them, right? Which I don't agree with. I don't agree with sites that do that. So usually I don't like working with, it's a good place if you want to get more reviews on like a random platform, but like I wouldn't worry too much about it. Okay. Next, Google Ads. How many of you are running a Google Ads campaign right now or have ever tried one? Okay, some people. That's good. So, very first thing that you want to do, you want to sync your Google Analytics with your Google Ads. Okay? And I'm going to explain why in a couple of points. But basically, your Google Analytics is your natural organic data that Google tabulates, and then they merge it into the ads component of Google, like Google Ads. Okay? And I'll explain why in just a couple of points. Now, which procedure should you promote for? So that's a big question. When you're writing your Google Ads campaigns, Google's going to be like, all right, well, what do you want to write them about? Like, what should your ads be about? And that's where you're like, I don't know, root canals and, pediatrics or teeth whitening or emergencies or dental cleanings or whatever it is. So you write, you kind of fine tune this a little bit. So once you kind of give Google the procedures, they're going to be like, okay, well, here's a list of keywords I found for each one. So what do you want to do with these? And you kind of have to go through these all the time. So Google gives you new keywords as time goes on because people search differently at different points in the year. So Google gives you more keywords that you can use in your ads. And you have to go through them all the time. If you don't, you risk losing, your optimization score. So basically on your ads, there is something called an optimization score. As a Google partner, I risk losing my partnership if your optimization score scores below a certain amount. So it's very important for any Google partner to make sure that they're going through your ads consistently. Okay. And so with keywords, you kind of have to go through them. It's like, I do want to show up for free dental consultations, but I don't want to show up for free dental work. Okay? So you have to go through them. It's like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no type thing. Okay? Now, what's the best time of day to promote? Anybody want to take a guess? I kind of gave you a hint earlier. Does anybody remember what that hint was? That's a good guess. After hours? Sundays? Sure. Guess what? You're all right. Okay. The best time of day to promote is pretty much all the time. It's pretty much all the time. Okay. Because as a typical person, I may be not typical. I get up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym. Then I come home. I deal with my kids. I drop them off at school. I go to the office. I'm in the office until 6. Then I come home. I'm my son's baseball coach, or we're doing karate, or we're doing piano. Then he's got dinner, bedtime, and then I have no life until 9. Okay? As any parent, that's pretty much your life. Okay? So you have to advertise when the parents have time to look, after or before, or on weekends. Okay? But you also have to advertise during your office hours. Monday through Sunday, 6 in the morning to 11 at night. That's the best time to promote, all the time. Now, you don't want to promote from 11 until 6 a.m. because you don't want to talk to those people. Okay? Like realistically, just don't. So best time of day, 6 to 11, okay? Now, it's 6 o'clock on a Saturday. Somebody types in best teeth whitening provider near me. What does your ad say? Now, there are 2 types of ads. Simple and complex. So, remember when we sync our Google Analytics with our Google Ads? Simple ads in a simple marketing company would say, somebody types in best teeth whitening provider, would say, need teeth whitening, call today. There's nothing wrong with that. But you remember how people search differently at different points in the year? We can manipulate data based on what people have historically searched for and use it against them. So I can actually start categorizing people who are looking for wedding venues, or I can categorize people who are traveling great distances every day. Don't have time for in-office whitening? Try our take-home whitening kits, right? Big life event coming up? Brighten your smile today. It's going to hit more closer to home to those people, okay? That's called a complex ad. That's where you're taking your natural organic data and you're merging it into your Google Ads. Everyone with me on that? Okay. Next, what should your budget be? It's a loaded question, right? Let's just say there are, 50 dentists within 3 miles of this place, all of which are promoting for teeth whitening. Okay. So let's say that on average, they're spending $500. You have to go online and spend $600. You don't have to spend the most. You just have to spend more than the average. Now, also understand that teeth whitening is not the only thing that you do, right? You want patients for cleanings. You want patients for implants. You want patients for veneers. You want patients for this and that and the other. You have to have an appropriate budget for each service that you want. But also understand that the budget is allocated throughout the entire month. So $500, or let's just use $1,000 as an example, divided over the month is $33 a day. You think $33 a day is going to generate you 10 patients a day? Come on, right? You have to have an appropriate budget, but also understand that there is a limit to how much money you can spend. Within 3 miles, there are only so many people that will actually click on your ad. So let's just say you go crazy. You said, spend $10,000. Okay. Well, Google comes back and says, I was only able to spend $2,500 because nobody else is clicking. So the only thing that you can do is expand the geographic radius. The problem with expanding the geographic radius is that the further you expand out, when people engage, they realize how far you are. They're not coming to the appointment, right? So the lower your show percentage is. Okay. Beyond 7 miles, your show percentage drops to less than 30%, right? So you want to keep it 7 miles or under. Okay. Now, anything you put into Google, you should expect between 2 and 8 times in return. 2 to 8 times. So as $1,000 Google Ads budget, you spend once a month, or you spend throughout the month. Do you think $2,000 to $8,000 back is enough to grow your business? Maybe, maybe not. Right? So spend according to your risk and also to your growth goals. I'm not saying you have to spend $10,000. Okay. I'm also not saying you should spend $500. But if you have aggressive growth goals, you should have a budget that coordinates with that. Okay. That aligns with that. Any questions on Google Ads? Perfect. Facebook and Instagram. We start with Facebook and Instagram because they're the ones that everybody knows. Okay. So first thing that you want to do is you want to complete your profile. Update the cover picture, the description, the contact information, the hours of operation, all that fun stuff. Then what you want to do is you want to set up the automated response system. So Facebook has a very simple auto system. It's like, hey, welcome to our page. Here's our hours and contact information, right? How can we help? Then what you want to do is you want to set up the pixel. So the pixel is basically an analytics system that tracks demographic information, right? Age, gender, marital status, kids, job. I can't see you specifically, but I can see everything about you. And then I can categorize you into different groups with other people that are just like you. So then what I can do is I can build posts targeted towards those types of people. So if I can see that it's primarily women with children engaging with me, what do you think I'm going to build the post around? Women with children, right? And then you engage with them, right? They comment, you reply. If you share back. If you like one of their posts, they like one of yours, right? Like that's how it works. Okay. Now you want to post every 2 times a week, basically like Monday and Wednesday or Thursday and Saturday or something like that. Okay. Twice a week. Some platforms though, you're going to have to post more often. So like TikTok or Reels on Instagram, it's like every day. YouTube could be once a month. Okay. Now, once you have a history of creating solid content, you want to start promoting it. And the best way to do that is through Meta on social media. It's basically Facebook ads, competes with Google ads. Okay. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to build out your audience group. Okay. The audience group is based on that demographic information, age, gender, marital status, kids, and job. Right. So what I can do is I can build an audience group for men and an audience group for women. People with kids, without kids, people under 30, people over 30, or people who are vets versus like war vets or people who are expats, or I can do it based on whatever I want. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to build out ads targeting each group of people. And I don't just have to create one. I could create 10, 6, 5, 8, 13, 27 different ads for each group. And then I let Facebook sort out which ad worked better. Then what we want to do is we want to set the time frame, the frequency, the radius, and the budget for your ads. Okay. Then we engage with them just like we would on your standard Facebook profile posts. Except these posts are not your followers. These posts are shown to people who don't follow you, but are in that geographic radius around your office. So not only will this help generate patients, it's also going to help generate followers for you. Now, I do have another page that I didn't include in this one that also talks about influencer marketing, which takes followers to another level. Basically, an influencer is a page or a person that has a large following network that can basically promote your page to those followers, right? So the more people will engage with you, essentially. So if I work with an influencer who promotes my page, I might get anywhere between 500 to 2,000 new followers when they do that. Okay? Anybody have any questions on Meta ads at all? Oh, fun fact about Facebook and Google. They charge you separately. Do not pay someone to pay for your Google ads for you. Meaning, if you're working with a marketing company who is saying, hey, your bill with us is $1,000, your bill with Google is $1,000. So you pay us $2,000 and I'll give Google $1,000. Do not do that. Facebook and Google have separate billing systems. They will bill you separately. Okay. They actually deter partners from paying for ads for their clients. Okay. For a couple of reasons. Primary, you don't know if that partner is actually paying Google what they say they're paying Google. Okay. That's the big one. Okay. The other thing is if you default, the marketing company's on the hook. Google wants to be able to go after you personally. So if you default, you can deal with Google. I'm not touching that. Okay. Next, we want to review and modify. So every system we just explained does something different. So website traffic, right? You can track who came to your website or how they engage with you, what pages they landed on, how long they stayed. Your Google Analytics is going to track keywords people typed in and times of day that they found you. And then your Facebook Analytics is going to track demographic information like age, gender, marital status, and job and such. Okay. So you take one system to improve the other. So not one system does everything. So what I would do is I would go to Google and I'd say, looking at the analytics, and I see that a lot of people search for implants at 8 o'clock at night. So I create a Facebook ad for implants and target it at 8 o'clock at night. Then I look at that demographic information, and it tells me that it's primarily men over the age of 65. So I go to your website, I change the imagery on the implants to coincide with men over the age of 65. So when people land on that page, they're more likely to convert because they can resonate with the imagery. You kind of see how that works, right? Okay. Now, everything I've just explained has been digital. There's a lot of non-digital options. So many non-digital options. Some things that have worked. Printed flyers are still a thing, believe it or not. Radio, bus ads, billboards, having a commercial at the beginning of a local movie theater, right? Community sponsorships, business partnerships. This one's pretty interesting. Anybody have a tanning salon around their office? Nobody? Go look for one. What you should do as a cosmetic dentist, if you want to offer cosmetic procedures, veneers, teeth whitening and such, partner with the tanning salon, put a banner in each one of their tanning beds and be like, hey, get a brighter body, get a brighter smile, right? Brandon Dentistry. It's crazy. You give them 10 or 15% off, like dental work, like for the owner, and they'll gladly do that. And then seminars. You deal with anything with kids or old folks, it's perfect. Okay. Now, some additional things that you can try. Packages to colleagues. If there's anything that you do that nobody else does, let them know, right? It doesn't just have to be other dental professionals. Family doctors do not deal with dental issues. Get them to refer patients to you. Presents for kids. Holidays are going to be coming up. What you should do is you should get a Christmas tree, menorah, or whatever you believe in, put it in your lobby, go to the dollar store, get a bunch of gifts, wrap them, put them under the tree. Now, you have to make this a big deal. You can't just be like, go grab one. Whatever. I don't care. You can't do that. They're kids. Now, this is only for kids, okay? Only for kids, for anybody, okay? I could be like, come here for 1 second. Go grab a tree, but don't tell anybody, okay? Put it under your tree. Can't open it until Christmas. They'll be like, okay. It was $3. You think I care? I don't care. But now the kid cares. And when it happens over the holidays, family visits. Look what I got from my dentist. Okay, January, tons of referrals. I promise you. Okay, it might cost you a couple $100 in presents, okay? But you don't just have to do that around Christmas time, okay? You could do that for back to school, okay, in a couple months. One of my clients did it for Valentine's Day, okay? Plans for businesses. If there's any large corporations around you, go in there, like the Gaylord, and be like, hey, guess what? I'm going to give all of your staff 10% off dental work as long as they all come to my office. Do you know how many staff work at the Gaylord? Just saying. Okay. And then partnerships with sports teams, AAA sports teams, hockey, football, stuff like that, where they get mouth guards. Give them a couple grand to go in and do a sponsorship for their clubhouse. You'll speak to 200 kids. Now I'm talking clubhouse. So this is AAA sports. Okay. You're talking to kids between the ages of 7 and 21 and their parents. Talk to them for 15 or 20 minutes about proper oral care. Get them to come into your office, free mouth guard. Okay. You get a free mouth guard with new patient exam. And then while mom and dad are waiting, you get them to convert. Now they're a patient of yours too. Okay. Lots of different ideas. These are all non-digital options, guys. Okay. It doesn't all have to be digital. It doesn't all have to be printed flyers and such, right? Like there's tons of different options you can choose from. Now we want to add images and videos. Okay. Lots of different types of pictures. Okay. So to clarify, if you want more families in your office, you have to include pictures of kids. No one cares that you have a kick-ass office if you don't actually have people in the chairs in those pictures. People want to envision themselves in there. It's like, okay, great, you have a nice chair. I don't care, right? As a parent, I specifically chose my dentist because he was the only one in my entire area that had pictures of him dealing with kids. Like actually, okay? Cosmetic procedures. Include some before and afters. Why would you not? Orthodontist has it, right? Why would you not include some before and afters on your website? And want more referrals? Include some community outreach pictures. Do you need any sponsorships? Dr. Marketing does. I sponsor my son's baseball team. None of them know this, okay? That I sponsored the team from Dr. Marketing. And I don't put Dr. Marketing on the jersey. It's 7-year-olds. I put Pokemon trainers on the back of their jersey. So the kids, every time I'm like, come on, Pokemon trainers, let's go. Because I'm their coach too. So like none of the parents, none of the kids will ever know that it was me that actually sponsored the team. unless they look at the doctor marketing, in which case they'll see the kid's picture, right? So I'm not saying that you have to do it like that, but you're local, like I'm a global business, so it's a little bit different, but like sponsor some teams, right? Get out there, do some community outreach, and then put those pictures in your office and on your marketing and your website and social media. Where to add the images? Not just to your website, promise you that. Google, Bing, social, printed flyers, and email newsletters. Same pictures, different platform. You know, people are going to remember you because they can remember the pictures. They're like, oh, I've seen that picture before. Oh, yeah, that's Dr. Brandon. I know that. And again, guys, I'm not a doctor. This is just a white lab coat, okay? Okay, now, fun fact about optimization. Update the image file name. How many of you have ever just uploaded a picture onto your website or onto Google profile or Google or social media, and it says image_165XY0? Do you think Google has eyes? Do you know what Google can't see what that picture's about? So anybody ever wrote alt text? It's called ALT text, alt text. Picture's worth 1,000 words. Put the picture description in the title of the actual image. Okay? So this one should say like pediatric dentist in Alaska wearing white lab coat helping little blonde girl with, what is that, purple glasses? Pink glasses? Pink glasses. Remember, I'm colorblind. With pink glasses. Okay? So now Google knows what's in that picture. So if anybody goes to Google Images, they're going to see that image. Okay? So change the file name every time. Okay? It doesn't take long. Like you can bang through like 50 of them in a minute. Combine, maybe 20 of them. Combine your marketing efforts. So don't reinvent the wheel. Okay? Email marketing and social media go hand in hand. Okay? So if you're going to send a newsletter to your patients, what you should be doing is you should be taking that same message and applying it to social media. Why would you have to recreate it? Just copy paste, right? Creative versus general brand. You're a dentist. You're a dentist. You're a dentist, right? I'm assuming so because you're wearing white, right? You're a dentist. Why would someone choose to come to you versus you? Why would someone choose to come to you? You all have great smiles. You all are very nice people. You all are highly educated. But why would someone choose to come from this dentist to that dentist? What separates you from them? You're all dentists, right? As a marketing company, this is my brand. We're doctor marketing. This is my brand. This is why people choose to come to work with us versus the other guys. Okay? Figure out what separates you from the other guys. Blogging versus optimization. This is not chicken and egg. Optimization comes first. Nobody cares if you add a blog to your website and it's not optimized. Okay? Especially Google. Print, Google, and Meta. Okay? Print marketing does work, but you have to do it digitally first. Okay? So what I mean by that, we run an ad, let's say 2 miles on Google, then we run the same ad 2 miles on Facebook, and then we hammer that same 2 miles with a print campaign. That print campaign will now perform 2 to 3 times better. Because what ends up happening, somebody gets a flyer, they're like, that's not what I need, throw it in the garbage. Now what they're going to do is they're going to go to social media and they'll scroll through their feed. They'll be like, oh, why have I seen that name before? That's not what I need. Now they need a doctor. Now they need a dentist. So now they're going to Google and they're like, best dentist in my area. Now you have an ad pop up. It's like, oh, I've seen that name. Let me click it. So they all work together. You see how that works? The flyer, get the name. People have to see your name, 5, 6 times before they actually take an action. So keep that in mind, all right? Personal stock photos and videos, okay? So I don't mean like personal images. So you don't have to use personal images all the time. Explaining what lingual braces are or what an inlay or an onlay is on a real patient is incredibly difficult. So it's okay to use a stock photo for something like that. And then digital and non-digital options, okay? Not everything has to be digitally focused, guys. There's tons of non-digital options we can choose from. And they both have to coexist if you want to grow. Bonus tip, hire a professional. Everything I just explained, I see some of you taking diligent notes, it's great. You could literally do all this stuff yourself, which is amazing. Okay, you could, but I don't recommend it. Okay? Because I promise you it is vastly more complicated once you start getting into it. Okay? So, Like proper marketing companies should be able to update content, images, colors, fonts. They should be updating errors on directories, renewing domains and securities, attracting media, writing blogs, managing social print and ads and more. That's what a marketing company should be doing. Okay. Now you want to work with someone that has dental expertise. So knowing that somebody is HIPAA and WCAG compliant. Remember WCAG, the website accessibility guidelines. Okay. We know the content behind the procedures, and you want to work with someone that knows how to explain it in a way that's not going to get you in trouble with the association or college. Okay? Now, some common marketing mistakes. A bullet point form them for us so we can go through them pretty quick. Incorrect phrasing. Do not use the word guarantee, love, best, or state-of-the-art in anything that you do. You can't make yourself seem like you're above anybody else. Testimonials. Do not place a written testimonial on your website. Okay, you can't just lift it from Google and put it here because you just broke HIPAA compliance. Fun fact, so if anybody's doing that, nix it out. Okay, video testimonials are okay because the identifiable features are on camera and they've agreed to be there. Okay, not responding to reviews. You want to make sure you respond to all reviews, except if you don't have anything nice to say to a negative one, just don't do it. Okay, incentives, giving away money to earn reviews or referrals. You can't do that. Okay. You cannot do that. It also attracts the wrong type of patient when you're giving away things like electronic toothbrushes, gift cards, and stuff like that. Like, thanks, I guess I'll never see you again. Bye. Right? If anybody ever have any trouble giving away an incentive and then trying to recall that same patient 6 months later, drop it. Okay? If the name of the game here is retention, way better options like recall in 6 months. I'll give you a free whitening gel. Right? As long as they bought like whitening before, or like I'll give you a new head to your electronic toothbrush, right? You're like, wow, I never have to pay for new heads ever again because my dentist just gives me a new one every 6 months, right? Groups and associations. Don't list any study groups you're part of, continuing education courses you take, or positions you hold at an association. You can list the associations, just not the positions, okay? Contact information, using the incorrect title or designation. One second. Funniest thing I've ever seen, a dentist in Utah called himself the supreme dental ruler. You cannot do that. Okay? It was a superhero themed like dental, like that dental office. He had like a red cape. You can't do that. Okay? Multiple websites for the same practice. Okay? That's how you get blacklisted from Google. And then directory mistakes, right? Fixing the problems because it's costing you business. Marketing, promoting for services you don't offer. Plagiarism. Improper explanations, all pretty standard stuff. And then an improper marketing budget. If your budget's too low, you're not going to get the results you need. If it's too high, you could be overspending on very basic services. You had a question? Yeah. So don't list any study groups or continuing education or positions you hold for the association. Because there's like rules around that with the ADA. Yeah. Yeah. You can't make yourself seem better than somebody else. It's the same thing with saying that you're the best or you offer state of the art. You can't make yourself seem like you're above somebody else. Yeah. You had a question? What would I consider a healthy budget? That's a great question. Let's go over that. Top marketing FAQ. What should your budget be? Wow. Perfect. That was not a plant, by the way. He does not work for me. Right? Okay. So we interviewed about 100 marketing agencies over the last 3 years, put together some averages on what they charge. Okay. On average, web design will typically cost between $1,000 and $10,000, depending on if it's a template or if it's a fully customized website. Custom emails, okay, will flow between 10 to 100 a month. That depends on the provider, space, security features, things like that. Chat systems will flow between 50 and 300 a month. That depends on if it's an automatic chat system or if it's like a live chat responder. Live chat like requires an agent to sit there and like respond back. Those are very expensive. Directories fixes mistakes online, get you found on new places. Okay. Review booster. That's the survey that can circumvent and send people to Google if it's positive or just say thanks if it's negative. Okay. Search engine optimization, $250 to $500 a month typically. That's the dynamic version. Static, surprisingly, is free by most providers if they do it at all. Social media is between 250 to 500. That depends on the platform and the number of posts that you have. And then ads will typically flow between 15 and 25%. Okay. So if your budget is $1,000, most marketing companies on average will charge you about $200 to manage your $1,000. Okay. Anybody want to take a guess at what the percentage of sales should go to marketing? Gross sales, 10%? Anybody else? Split some, 25? Anybody else? And shout some numbers out. 60, 15, 4. Okay. Guess what? You're all right. It could be anywhere from 0 to 100%. It depends on if your office is brand new or if you're an established practice. If you're an established office, I'm talking like the number of operatories and the number of active patients correlate. Okay. So if you have 3 operatories, you should have between 1,500 and 2,000 patients. If you don't, you have to spend more money, more of your budget in marketing. But as you grow, that budget, like, let's just say is $5,000 a month, right? Like you're spending a lot. It's a higher percentage of your sales, but as your budget your gross sales continue to grow, that budget stays the same so that your percentage drops down. See how that works? 1 to 4%. Okay. But that again has to correlate. It could be higher. It could be lower. It could be lower if you're about to retire and sell. It could be higher if you want to just grow, like you want to double down on the number of patients, or you build out a new operatory, or you just hired an associate. Okay? Questions? That is a good question. There is a stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 that we would typically do. And we would say, hey, based on your goals, here are the things that I would focus on. Okay? And as you continue to grow, there are more things that you should focus on. Yeah, a lot of it has to do with your budget and your growth goals. So I have a brand new office that we're working with that does full arches. They immediately started with 3 billboards before they even had a single patient. I also have other offices that did billboards after they reached 2.5 million in sales. Right? Radio campaigns are effective too, but at what point do you do it? And that's really up to the marketing company to figure out at what point is it beneficial for you and your office and your growth goals to do it. Okay, so you have to work with somebody who actually understands that. Okay. Now, is your marketing working for you? Here's a couple tips and tricks. Website design. Look at it on all device sizes. 70% of people are going to look at it from your smartphone, but nobody ever looks at a smartphone when they're designing a website, right? Like they typically only just do it from a desktop. So look at it on all device sizes. Okay. Search engine optimization. You remember we were talking about the title and description earlier and how it's like one of the most important things Google looks at, and you can manipulate the title and description for every page of your site. Everyone remember that, right? Write this trick down if you want to see the company is actually doing optimization for you. Right click anywhere on your website, and you do this from every single page. Right click. You're going to click on view page source. Then what you're going to do is you're going to do Control F from a computer, or it's like Command F from a Mac, and you're going to have the menu pop up, like this find menu, and you're going to type in title or description, and you're going to read the blue text, and you can maybe send an email to your marketing company and be like, this sucks, or this is great, right? And so you want to make sure that you are reading the blue text, because that's essentially what Google's picking up. Okay? So you want to right click on your website, click view page source. Then you're going to look through a command like Control F or Command F on a Mac. And then you're going to type in title or description. Okay? And essentially you're looking for meta title or meta description. Got it? Okay. Next, social media and blogging. Look at the blog post. Look at the dates, look at the times, look at the color scheme. Make sure you're happy with what messages is obviously being conveyed. Okay? Ad spend. Typically, it will cost anywhere between $150 to $250 to generate one single paying patient. Now, there are companies that they're like ZocDoc, if anybody's ever used them or heard of them. They charge $110 per booked appointment, not per patient. So if the patient doesn't show up, you still pay. Right? Then you have other companies like OpenCare that charge like $400 per guaranteed booked appointment, right? If you ever use them. So on average, it will cost you between $150 to $250 to generate. The primary reason for this, well, there's two. One has to do with the procedure you're promoting for. The second has to do with your staff. Too many times I've done consulting work and heard recorded phone calls being like, thank you for calling Brandon Dentistry. This is 1 second. And the patient's like, what the hell was that? Like, and they're just like sitting on the other line. You guys laugh, but it's serious. Like as a salesperson, that's not sales. Like, thank you. Ola, would you mind just giving me 2 seconds? Or just don't even pick up the phone if you can't deal with it right away. Right? And call them right back. Okay? Very important. Make sure that you are following up with your leads. You're answering your inquiries through phone calls, that you're responding to missed phone calls, things like that. Okay? Very important. Now, just a little bit about doctor marketing before I get into some case studies. We are a full service marketing team. So if you need anything, you just give us a call. Very simple. We only specialize in working with dental offices. Very easy. We have no term contracts. Not happy, you can go. Right? I'm not gonna hold you to it. We don't really lose clients though, unless you sell them a DSO, in which case they can't afford service because they have their own. 36 hours a month we save you. If you did all this stuff yourself, it would cost you 36 hours a month. Okay? It's a lot. We like to take our time, be easy to understand, and offer effective and efficient service. That's our mandate. Okay? And we've got partnerships with some billion-dollar corporations. So, I mean, like, if Google trusts us enough to put us on their website, I think it's pretty safe to say that you can trust us, okay? Now, in terms of services we offer, everything that we just went over, and then some. There are 3 kinds of marketing. You have digital marketing, obviously logos and websites and Google Ads and social. You have external marketing, which has to do with like flyers and billboards and radio campaigns. And then you have internal marketing that has to do with like community outreach events, plush toys for kids, giveaways, or, business cards or pamphlets or flyers or something like that in the office. We can take care of all of it. Okay. Now, case studies, put together some case studies for you. Different types of offices, different locations, different information. I wasn't sure what to expect here, so put some orthodontists, peds, dentures. It's not a medical office. In Canada, they have denture-only offices. They can't do anything but dentures. Okay? And then general. Okay? Different offices, different budgets, different locations, different specialties, but understand everyone has different goals. Okay? Everyone in here has different goals, but understand from a starting point, every single one of you is going to start basic. Okay? I have to know if these things are going to work for you before we start doing them. Do you know if Google Ads is going to work for you like it would work for him? Or do you know if social media is the right option? Or should I do print? Should I do optimization? I don't know if these things are going to work, but you know who does know? The analytics. And so we want to take a back seat from marketing to understand if these things are going to work. So I don't just take your money and be like, that worked. Right? But then you're like, down here, it's like all this wasted budget. Okay? So this is why we don't start people being like, hey, I just met you. Can I have $5,000 a month? No. You can sign today, $2,000 a month. No. Sign today, $1,200 a month. Okay? This is exactly why we don't do that. Okay? This is it. Any questions? If anybody wants to scan this, you can fill out a form, talk to an expert. And by expert, I mean Dr. Marketing.